This is question 1H on page 379. So the question says reduce to lowest terms, stating the restrictions on the variable. Where we'll start is stating the restrictions. So 1 minus 3a cannot be equal to 0 because we could never divide by 0, so that would be our non-permissible value, is whatever number a becomes that would make my denominator 0. So I'm going to subtract 1 from both sides to get negative 3a cannot be equal to negative 1. Divide both sides by negative 3. And my restriction is a cannot be equal to 1/3. So if I plugged 1/3 in the denominator, that would make the denominator 0. Okay, now what we need to do is we need to simplify. So if you look at that 9a squared minus 1, I'm hoping you'll see that that's a difference of squares. They love doing difference of squares, so two terms separated by a minus, both of those terms can be square rooted. So if I was to take the difference of squares, I'm going to bring down that negative. The square root of 9a squared is 3a. The square root of 1 is 1. And then because it's a difference of squares, remember that one of your factors always gets a positive and one gets a negative, and it doesn't matter which is which. Then in my denominator, what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually rewrite this, and I want this denominator here, so 1 minus 3a, to look similar to the numerator in the sense that they start with their variables and then it ends with the constants. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to rewrite this negative 3a first, and then I'm going to put that plus 1. Okay, so now I look and I still don't have anything that I could cancel. And when you're reducing, you will always, for these types of questions, have something that will cancel. So if ever you start with a negative, always factor that negative out. And that's really a negative 1 that you're factoring out. So then in my numerator, I have that negative 3a plus 1 in one bracket, and the 3a minus 1 in the second. And then I have in the denominator, I factored out that negative 1. And when I factor out that negative 1, what I'm left with in the bracket, negative 3a divided by negative 1 is 3a, and 1 divided by negative 1 is negative 1. So now you look and you say, well, what can I cancel? And hopefully that you could see 3a minus 1 is going to cancel with 3a minus 1. This is really a negative 1. Negative 1 divided by negative 1 will essentially cancel, right? Negative 1 divided by negative 1 is 1. So I'm going to get rid of that. So my solution, simplified, would be 3a plus 1 is remaining. And then you always will write comma, and then you state your restriction. So the restriction on a was a cannot be equal to 1/3. And there is your simplified expression along with its restriction.